The average human today lives better than a king did 500 years ago. You can summon food without hunting for it, travel across continents in hours, speak to people on the other side of the planet instantly, carry access to nearly all human knowledge in your pocket. And yet, anxiety disorders are rising, depression is rising, loneliness is rising. Millions of people wake up every morning with a strange feeling they can't quite explain, a feeling that something is wrong. Most people assume the problem is stress, or social media, or politics. But what if the real answer is much older than that? What if the psychological trap behind modern life began long before the internet, long before cities, and long before civilization itself? Because the truth is that your brain was not designed for the world you live in today. It was designed for a world that no longer exists. To understand why modern life feels so strange, we need to go back, far back. For almost all of human history, survival was uncertain. For hundreds of thousands of years, your ancestors lived in small groups, rarely larger than a few dozen people. Every day presented immediate challenges: finding food, avoiding predators, protecting children, maintaining social relationships, solving practical problems. Life was difficult, but it was also clear. Every action had an obvious purpose. Every skill had visible value. Every challenge demanded attention. And most importantly, the human brain evolved inside that environment. Natural selection did not create a mind optimized for happiness. It created a mind optimized for survival. Those are not the same thing. A brain that feels permanently satisfied stops paying attention. A brain that stops paying attention dies. So evolution favored something else: dissatisfaction. The constant feeling that something could be improved, something could be gained, something could be lost, something might be wrong. This tendency helped our ancestors survive. Today, it follows us everywhere, and this is where the first trap appears. Modern civilization became extraordinarily good at solving external problems. We built houses, hospitals, supermarkets, air conditioning, medicine, transportation, entertainment. But while the world changed, the brain remained largely the same. The instincts that once protected us are still running. Only now they have nothing natural to attach themselves to. And when ancient instincts enter a modern environment, strange things begin to happen. Take dopamine. Few chemicals are more misunderstood. Most people think dopamine creates pleasure. It doesn't. Dopamine creates anticipation. It motivates pursuit. It pushes you toward rewards that might improve survival. For ancient humans, this system worked remarkably well. A successful hunt, a ripe fruit tree, a potential mate, each reward required effort, time, uncertainty. The dopamine system evolved around scarcity, but modern life replaced scarcity with abundance, and abundance created a problem. For the first time in history, humans gained access to nearly unlimited stimulation, infinite videos, infinite news, infinite entertainment, infinite scrolling. Your brain encounters more novel information in a single afternoon than some ancestors experienced in weeks, and the reward system struggles to adapt. Every notification becomes a possibility. Every swipe promises something new. Every refresh offers another chance for reward. The system that once helped humans find food now spends its days hunting digital stimulation. But that's only part of the story, because there is another instinct that modern life has transformed: status. Humans are intensely social creatures. For our ancestors, social standing mattered enormously. Higher status often meant better access to resources, more influence, more support, greater chances of survival. The brain evolved to monitor social position constantly. In small tribes, this system made sense. You compared yourself to perhaps 50 people, maybe 100. You knew them personally. You understood their strengths and weaknesses. Your comparisons remained limited. Today, that limit has disappeared. Through a small glowing screen, you can compare yourself to millions of people instantly. The richest, the smartest, the most attractive, the most successful, the most talented. At any moment, there is always someone doing better, and your ancient status monitoring system treats these comparisons as if they belong to your immediate social group. The result is predictable. No matter how successful you become, someone appears more successful. No matter how attractive you are, someone appears more attractive. No matter how accomplished you feel, another comparison waits around the corner. The competition never ends because the tribe never ends. For most of human history, this situation would have been impossible. Now it is normal. And perhaps the strangest part is that many people don't even realize it is happening. They simply experience the result. Anxiety, self-doubt, restlessness, the persistent feeling of not being enough. But there is an even deeper trap hidden underneath all of this. A trap that psychologists, philosophers, and historians have noticed for centuries, the trap of meaning. Throughout history, human life was filled with unavoidable challenges: growing food, building shelter, raising families, protecting communities, surviving harsh seasons. Many of these activities were exhausting. Some were dangerous, yet they also provided something important: a sense of necessity. People knew why they were doing what they were doing. Their actions connected directly to outcomes. Modern life gradually removed many of those pressures, and this was an extraordinary achievement. Fewer people starve, fewer people die from disease, fewer people live in extreme hardship. Objectively, this is progress. But something unexpected happened. As survival became easier, many people began asking a question their ancestors rarely had time to ask. What is all of this for? The philosopher Viktor Frankl observed that human beings can endure remarkable suffering if they possess meaning. But comfort without meaning often creates a different kind of suffering, a quieter suffering, one that is harder to identify. You can see this pattern everywhere. People achieve goals they spent years chasing: the promotion, the degree, the house, the relationship, the financial milestone, and after a brief moment of satisfaction, something surprising happens. The feeling fades, a new goal appears, the pursuit begins again. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. Humans rapidly adjust to improved circumstances. What once felt extraordinary becomes normal. The mind resets its expectations and the cycle continues. The destination keeps moving. The finish line keeps retreating. Many people spend years believing the next achievement will finally make them feel complete. Then they arrive and discover the feeling never lasts. But why? Why would evolution create such a frustrating system? Because permanent satisfaction was never the objective. Adaptation was. A hunter completely satisfied with his situation would stop searching. A gatherer completely content would stop exploring. A tribe that stopped adapting would eventually disappear. The system worked brilliantly in the environments that created it. The problem is that modern life changed the environment while preserving the psychology. And that leads us to the hidden mechanism behind nearly every trap we've discussed: evolutionary mismatch. This idea appears throughout biology. A trait evolves for one environment. Then, the environment changes faster than the trait can adapt. The result is conflict. Birds become attracted to artificial objects that resemble eggs. Insects fly toward artificial lights that mimic the moon. And humans continue using ancient survival instincts inside a technological world that did not exist when those instincts evolved. Your craving for sugar once protected you from starvation. Now it contributes to obesity. Your desire for social approval once strengthened community bonds. Now it can trap you in endless comparison. Your attraction to novelty once helped you discover resources. Now it can keep you scrolling for hours. The instincts are not broken. They are simply operating in conditions they were never designed for. And once you see this pattern, modern life begins to look different. The problem is not that humans are weak. The problem is not that civilization failed. The problem is not that technology ruined everything. The real issue is that ancient minds suddenly found themselves living in an entirely new world. A world moving faster than biological evolution can follow. But here is where most discussions get something wrong. They assume the solution is to reject modern life, to abandon technology, to escape civilization, to return to some imagined past. Yet our ancestors would not want their world back. They struggled constantly against hunger, disease, violence, and uncertainty. Modern life solved many of those problems. The answer is not going backward. The answer is understanding. Once you recognize the forces acting on your mind, you begin seeing them everywhere. You notice when endless stimulation hijacks attention. You notice when comparison steals contentment. You notice when convenience removes meaningful effort. And most importantly, you stop treating every uncomfortable feeling as a personal failure. Because sometimes the discomfort is not a defect. Sometimes it is a signal, a reminder that the human brain still carries the imprint of a much older world. A world of campfires, small tribes, long walks, shared stories, direct challenges, visible purpose. For hundreds of thousands of years, that world shaped the mind you have today. Then, in the span of a few centuries, everything changed. The environment transformed. The instincts remained. And that may be the psychological trap behind modern life, not technology, not comfort, not civilization itself, but the growing gap between the world that created us and the world we created. The ancient brain is still here. It always will be. The question is whether we learn to understand it, or spend the rest of our lives wondering why a life that seems easier than ever can sometimes feel so difficult.